Right now at noon, Hunter Biden breaks his silence about his work for a Ukrainian company. And 3 Wisconsin Badgers have been named to the AP midseason All-American team. We'll tell you who made the list.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield is standing by. A wet start to the day, but that seems to have moved out.
Yeah, we did have some showers and thunderstorms move through southern Wisconsin this morning. Some heavy rain for a brief period of time, but overall, we are seeing a clearing trend early this afternoon as a low-pressure system continues to march through the area. Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam, we're going to see maybe some peaks of sunshine this afternoon. We did see a little bit of sun earlier this morning, but looking at mostly cloudy skies right now. Temperatures already into the upper 50s with a cold front on the way. Low 50s in the Dells and at 60 in Platteville. You see that counterclockwise spiral there a little bit north of Camp Douglas. That is the center of that low pressure system. It will continue to move to the east into this afternoon. So temperatures will actually fall a bit by the time we get to later this afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies and then turning windy overnight with temperatures falling into the low 40s to start off our Wednesday. We will talk about our next chance for some showers, maybe even some thunderstorms, and when temperatures return to the 60s in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Almost spring-like.
Yes.
All right, Dave, thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes. A man is recovering at Mercy Hospital in Janesville after being stabbed and beaten in his home in the village of Clinton. Police were called to Milwaukee Street last night where they found an 18-year-old man who was stabbed and beaten over the head with a gun. The victim says 2 masked men forced their way into his home, but both ran away before police got there. Clinton police are still looking for the 2 men. The nation's largest independent spice retailer is peppering Facebook with ads calling for the impeachment of President Donald Trump. Wisconsin-based Penzeys Spices spent nearly $100,000 on Facebook ads last week calling for Trump's impeachment, making it one of the largest social media spenders on impeachment to date. CEO Bill Penzey has previously spoken out on politics. He wrote after Trump's election that the Republican Party was openly embracing racism and, quote, unleashing a wave of ugliness unseen in this country for decades. President Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has until the end of the day today to comply with a congressional subpoena and turn over documents related to his work in Ukraine to get that country to investigate Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Nicole Killian has more details from Capitol Hill, as well as what Hunter is now saying about his work in Ukraine.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent arrived on Capitol Hill for his day in front of congressional investigators.
We've had 30 hours of testimony. We're heading into our 4th interview. I assume this will be another 8 to 10 hour day.
Kent oversaw former Ukraine Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch and in emails from this spring described efforts by Rudy Giuliani and others to have her sent home as a fake news-driven smear.
She was the victim of propaganda, conspiracy theory, and an organized political hit job.
Giuliani has admitted to spreading documents which Democrats have described as conspiracy theories about Yovanovitch because he believed she was blocking his efforts to have Ukraine investigate the president's political rival, Joe Biden, and his son Hunter. Those efforts prompted then National Security Advisor John Bolton to tell NSC staffer Fiona Hill to notify White House lawyers about a rogue effort in Ukraine involving Giuliani, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and U.S. Ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland.
CBS News has learned Democrats would like to hear from John Bolton. Republicans who do not have subpoena power want to hear from Hunter Biden about his work in Ukraine.
The sitting vice president's son, with no energy experience and no Ukraine experience, gets hired at $50,000 a month because, to his own admission, only because of his last name.
Hunter Biden broke his silence during an interview on ABC News. He admits his job on the board of a Ukrainian oil company looks bad, but says he broke no laws.
I made a mistake in retrospect as it related to creating any perception that was wrong. And so, therefore, I'm taking it off the table.
Hunter Biden is no longer employed by the Ukraine company and is resigning his post with a Chinese investment firm. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And Ambassador Sondland is scheduled to testify on Thursday. The stage is set for the 4th Democratic presidential debate tonight in Ohio. excuse me, 12 candidates have qualified to be on the stage, including frontrunners Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. Warren has crept ahead of the former vice president in some national polls. Ohio voters are critical. The state has voted for the winning candidate in each of the last 14 elections. The candidates are expected to spar over issues like health care, guns, and trade. A white ex-police officer is facing murder charges for shooting a black woman inside her Texas home this weekend. Officer Aaron Dean resigned yesterday. Body cam footage shows the moment he shot and killed Atiana Jefferson in her home on Saturday. The video shows Dean never identified himself as a police officer. Police Chief Ed Krause says there is no excuse for Dean's actions.
To the citizens and the residents of our city, we understand your frustration and disappointment. I, too, am frustrated and disappointed by what occurred and the officer's actions. We never want an officer's response to a call to end in the loss of life.
City officials in Fort Worth have presented a preliminary case to the FBI to review his actions for possible civil rights violations. Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. is back in a New York courtroom. He has been accused of sexual misconduct by 3 more women. The actor, who's already facing trial in connection with an alleged groping incident in June, is reportedly the subject of a number of new allegations currently being investigated by police. Gooding's attorney says none of the claims are credible. Well, distribution for our Coats for Kids donation drive starts today on Madison's east side. Over the past few weeks, the Community Action Coalition received 4,465 coats to help keep Dane County's needy warm this winter. Additional scarves, hats, and gloves will also be distributed. Volunteers say they're still accepting more donations, especially children's coats. You can drop those off at the Community Action Coalition's office off Stoughton Road. Distribution goes through November 7th. And the Green Bay Packers are on top of the NFC North 6 games through the NFL season. The Packers defeated the Lions 23-22 last night at Lambeau Field. Mason Crosby kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. The Packers are now 5-1 and have the best record in the NFC North. They take on the Oakland Raiders Sunday at Lambeau Field. You can see that game right here on Channel 3. And 3 Wisconsin Badgers made the Associated Press midseason All-American team. Jonathan Taylor, who leads the nation with 18 touchdowns, is joined by Badgers center Tyler Biadasz and linebacker Zach Braun. Ohio State has 5 players on the list, while Alabama has 4. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. I'm next. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Put away your summertime pasta salad recipe, because we have a new one for fall that is doubly good. Doubly good. When we think of pasta salad, we typically think of macaroni salad or some kind of twirly noodles tossed with veggies in a light vinaigrette. Well, those are great for summer get-togethers and barbecues. But right now, we need a pasta salad that's more fitting for the season, like this new one we just came up with. We start by boiling some elbow macaroni, just like we always do, and draining it really well. While that sits for a sec, we mix some mayo with a bit of, get this, some maple syrup, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and a little salt, and we set that aside. Now we add some cut-up cooked chicken to our pasta, along with some chopped up fresh pears and apples, a handful of dried cranberries, chopped celery, and to give this some crunch, a good amount of candied walnuts. All this gets tossed with our maple mayo mixture, and it's ready to serve as is. Or we can pop it in the fridge so it can chill for a bit before serving. It's really hard to explain just how good this is. I mean, between the sweet and tart dressing, the crunch of the apples and the pears, the candied nuts, and the heartiness of the chicken, what's not to love? As always, the recipe for our autumn pasta salad is online now and is ready to add some excitement to your table all season long. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a new fall-like way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, a cloudy and breezy Tuesday across southern Wisconsin. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield will have your first alert forecast after the break. Well, big banks kick off earnings seasons and the cities where people really don't know how to drive. Diane King Hall has more in today's Money Watch report.
A tale of two cities on the earnings front today. J.P. Morgan Chase says profit rose 8% to $9.1 billion in its third quarter. That beat expectations. Meanwhile, rival Goldman Sachs says profit plunged 26% to $1.88 billion as it took losses on some public investments. Johnson & Johnson is also out with its quarterly report card. The healthcare products giant says profit topped $4.8 billion, which was better than expected, but legal troubles are mounting for the company as it faces thousands of lawsuits ranging from claims its baby powder causes cancer to allegations it played a role in fueling the opioid epidemic. California is banning school lunch shaming. Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill which mandates that students with outstanding lunch debt should not be shamed or treated differently. The bill says indebted students can receive their meal of choice even if their parents or guardians owe money. And almost every driver is a critic of fellow motorists, but are the drivers in your city really that bad? If you live in Portland, Oregon, that would be a yes. According to Quote Wizard, that city has the worst drivers in America, followed by Boise, Idaho, and Virginia Beach, Virginia. On the flip side, Motor City, Detroit, topped the best drivers list. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Thank you, Diane. Let's check Wall Street afternoon hour. The Dow Industrials up 252 points. The NASDAQ adding 96. The S&P 500 up almost 32. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee out of the radio barn today, so here are your farm numbers. Time now for the weather. Dave is standing by with your first alert forecast.
Well, Mark, I think Diane may have missed a city on that list. Whatever city I'm in at a particular time is definitely on the worst driver list. I have to admit that. Can't even lie to you all. And speaking of driving, we have a low pressure system driving our weather across southern Wisconsin right now. We could see a little bit of it on visible cloud tracks. So the center of that low is to the north of Madison, closer to Marshfield. And we are noticing that along a cold front, we've seen the clouds build in over the last hour or so. We did see those showers and a few thunderstorms roll through this morning before a little bit of sunshine in between. Now we have those mostly cloudy skies that I think are going to hang on for a lot of this afternoon. But Doppler track is pretty quiet across southern Wisconsin, even as that front sort of continues to build to the south and west. So not out of the question that a quick sprinkle or shower forms across the area, but I think most of us will stay dry as those showers have pushed off to the north and east. Madison, the Edgewater Skycam. We were looking at sunshine not too long ago, but right now those clouds have built in on the Edgewater Skycam. Currently at mostly cloudy skies, 58 degrees, south wind at 8 miles per hour. I think those temperatures are going to hang out in the upper 50s, even a few low 60s showing up closer to southwestern Wisconsin. But as a cold front comes through this afternoon, those temperatures are going to fall pretty quickly as those winds change from the south to the north and west. So not too bad right now, the wind in Madison, but we are noticing some readings of about 10 to 15 miles per hour across southern Wisconsin. That wind is going to increase as we get into tonight. As this low pressure system passes, we'll have a pretty big pressure gradient. Remember, that's the difference in pressure over a certain distance. And once that pressure gradient starts to increase, we see the wind increase, and we can actually see the center of that low pressure system north and west of Black River Falls there. High temperature trend, we're staying pretty close to where we should be for this time of year. The exception tomorrow behind that cold front, we'll see highs only in the upper 40s, and with that wind pretty stiff at times out of the north and west, it could feel like the 30s even during the daytime. hopefully we get a little bit of sunshine to bump those temperatures up. Speaking of those temperatures being bumped up into this weekend, I think we will hit 60 for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but we could have some showers to deal with on Saturday, and then later on Sunday into Monday, a few more showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms, not out of the question either. So we'll continue to watch that system as it continues to develop. So on future tracks, speaking of systems, we'll see this low pressure system continue to move through the area. I do think that most of us will stay dry for the rest of the day. The exception is as that center continues to move through, we could see a few showers east of Madison overnight. We'll keep a slight chance in there. I really don't think many of us need to worry about that. And temperatures starting off in the low 40s in Madison on Wednesday morning, and then really not rising all that much, even though Future Track has been picking up on a little bit of clearing tomorrow. With that northwesterly wind, it's not going to allow those temperatures really to warm up all that much. We could see some patchy frost on Thursday morning as temperatures dip into the mid-30s. And here are some wind gust values for tomorrow morning. Let me get my time right there. We could see wind gusts of about 25 to 30 miles per hour with some stronger gusts possible near the lake. Here is your 7 to 10-day forecast. We noticed those temperatures in the low 60s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. For Saturday, temperatures in the low 60s, but we could see a few showers. Really not looking at a lot in the way of rain totals there, so that's some good news. But then maybe a slightly bigger system on the way for late Sunday into Monday. Our model's still kind of ironing that out at this point, but it does look cooler into the middle of next week as those temps head back into the low 50s and then mid 40s.
Which is probably where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit closer.
All right, thank you, Dave. Ahead at noon, how a Massachusetts teenager is helping patients at a local hospital deal with their medical challenges. That story after the break. A young woman who's been a patient at Shriners Hospital in Springfield, Massachusetts all her life now wants to help others. She made a donation of more than 400 Barbies to give to other young girls at the hospital who are also dealing with medical challenges. Hector Molina explains why these dolls are different than your typical toy.
18-year-old Chloe Newman from Mechanicville, New York, has been receiving prosthetic services at Shriners Children's Hospital in Springfield for her entire life. She was born with a missing limb and has had multiple prostheses fittings at Shriners. Once Chloe and her family found out that Mattel has a line of Barbie dolls with prosthetic legs, she wanted to collect as many of them as possible to give back to girls who need them. She was able to receive more than 400 dolls in donations for the hospital. Chloe hopes that when young girls see that even Barbie can have a prosthetic, they would then feel better about their own prostheses.
I think that they would feel better about themselves maybe, or at least that's what I'm hoping. That they would see, oh, that's really cool, they're making a Barbie like me, so like, why should I be ashamed of myself if there's now toys like me?
Dr. Brock McConkey has been providing prosthetic services for the majority of her life. He even made his own version of the doll himself many years ago. Chloe said Brock was one of the main reasons she wanted to donate the dolls to Shriners.
But it's also rewarding to see them grow up and do certain things like this. And she's only going to continue to do things like this that, that give to the community and better the lives of people.
Good for her. What a special lady. All right, Dave, one final check of the forecast.
Well, we have that low pressure system moving through southern Wisconsin, so we've really clouded up over the last hour in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. Maybe some peaks of sunshine this afternoon, but really not all that much. Your day planner, temperatures will stay sort of in the mid to upper 50s this afternoon, and then we'll see the winds increase tonight. Temperatures will fall into the low 40s by the time we start off Wednesday. A windy Wednesday, chilly as well, with highs only in the upper 40s, but we do get back into the 60s by this weekend.
All right, that's our time for now. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.